So good morning, everyone, and good evening here, in fact. Myself, Dr. Ramesh Nagarajappa. I am faculty in the Shiksha Vanasandhan University from Bhubaneswar, India. So the topic of my today's presentation is the challenges and approaches in the management of digital craving. So to introduce this topic, digital craving is the addiction towards the use of digital devices which have largely occupied all the fields and taken the place of almost everything in our life activities. We are all spending too much time on our phones and computers. With the internet available easily, smartphones and video games we are easily available to us. So the portions of the society which are using have become more. Thereby, the researchers are becoming concerned with the potential side effects and consequences of their prevalence in people's daily lives. Problematic computer use is a growing social issue which is being debated worldwide. Many individuals are losing control of their internet use. They are using it and other devices excessively to the point that they negatively affect their well-being as these individuals withdraw from their social life and use their devices to escape from the pressure of real world. Internet addiction disorder ruins the lives by causing neurological complications, psychological disturbances, and social problems. As such, it is imperative to seek new methods and strategies for identifying and treating these type of individuals who are having digital addictions. So to classify this, all type of addictions, whether chemical or behavioral, they share certain characteristics, including the salience, compulsive use, the mood modification, and the alleviation of distress, the tolerance, and also the withdrawal. Just because we use the internet a lot or watch a lot of YouTube videos, shop online frequently, or we may like to check social media, that doesn't mean that we are suffering from internet addiction disorder. But the trouble actually comes when these activities start to interfere with our daily life. In general, internet addiction disorder is subdivided into varying categories. The most commonly identified categories of internet addiction includes the gaming, social networking, email, blogging, online shopping, and inappropriate internet pornography use. Other researchers suggest that it is not the amount of time we spend on the internet that is particularly troublesome. Rather, it is how the internet is being used. That is, the riskiness of internet use can be just as important as the amount of time we spend. There is an ongoing debate about how best to classify the behavior, which is characterized by many hours spent in non-work technology-related computer or internet or video game activities. It is accompanied by changes in the mood, preoccupation with the internet and digital media, the inability to control the amount of time spent interfacing with digital technology, the need for more time or a new game to achieve a desired mood, the withdrawal symptoms when we are not engaged in that, and the continuation of the behavior despite the family conflicts, a diminishing social life and adverse work, or the academic consequences, all these are related. Some researchers and mental health practitioners see excessive internet use as a symptom of another disorder, such as anxiety or depression, rather than a separate entity. This internet addiction could be considered an impulse control disorder. Yet, there is a growing consensus that this constellation of symptoms is an addiction. The American Society of Addiction Medicine recently released a new definition of addiction as a chronic brain disorder, officially proposing for the first time that addiction is not limited only to substance use. Moving on to the prevalence of this internet addiction disorder. In the last decade, there is nearly six-fold increase in internet usage. And the special thanks to COVID-19, this pandemic has resulted in further increase presently. Worldwide, the prevalence of internet addiction has been estimated at 6%. This considerable variance of the prevalence rates have been reported between 0.3% and 38%. That's still alarming, considering that only about 39% of the world population has an internet access. There seems to be a significant variation in the rates of internet addiction between the countries. For example, among adolescents, if we take the rate of internet addiction in Italy and is estimated to be 0.8% compared to China, which is about 8.8%. In Europe and USA, rates ranged from 7.9 to 25.2%, while the Middle East and Africa, it was 17.3% to 23.6%. And the studies in Asia have shown a higher variation ranging from 8.1% up to 50.9%. The reasons for this considerable variance may be attributed to the fact that the diagnostic criteria and assessment questionnaires used for diagnosis of internet addiction may vary between the countries, and the studies also use highly selective samples for online surveys. The etiology can be a biological predisposition which can contribute to the disorder. If the individuals are suffering from this disorder, their levels of dopamine and serotonin may be deficient compared to the general population. This chemical deficiency may require them to engage in more behaviors to receive the same pleasurable response compared to individuals not suffering from internet addictive behaviors. To achieve this pleasure, individuals may engage in more behavior to the general public, increasing their chances for addiction. The predispositions of internet addiction are also related to anxiety and depression. Oftentimes, if individuals are already suffering from anxiety or depression, they may turn to the internet to relieve their suffering from these conditions. If individuals are shy or socially awkward, they may turn to internet because it does not require interpersonal interaction and it is emotionally rewarding. The various signs and symptoms of internet addiction disorder may present themselves in both physical and emotional manifestations. Some of the emotional manifestations listed here includes the depression, dishonesty, feelings of guilt, anxiety, feeling of euphoria, the inability to prioritize or keep their schedules going, isolation, there is no sense of time, defensiveness, avoiding the important works, agitation, mood swings, fear, loneliness, and boredom with the routine tasks. These are the emotional symptoms. And the few physical symptoms listed are the backache, carpal tunnel syndrome, headaches, insomnia, poor nutrition, poor personal hygiene, neck pain, dry eyes, and other vision problems, weight gain, or loss. What are the effects of this internet addiction disorder? If anyone is suffering from this disorder, it might be affecting his or her personal relationships, work life, finances, or their school life. The individuals may be isolating themselves from others, spending a long time in social isolation, and negatively impacting their personal relationships. The distress and dishonesty issues may also arise due to internet addicts trying to hide or deny the amount of time they have spent online. In addition, these individuals may create alternative personas online in an attempt to mask their online behaviors. Serious financial troubles may also result from avoidance of work, bankruptcy due to continued online shopping, online gaming, or online gambling. The internet addicts may also have trouble developing new relationships and they socially withdraw as they feel more at ease in an online environment than a physical one. So the challenges what we have in this can be categorized into neurological abnormalities, where it is known that addictions activate a combination of sites in the brain associated with pleasure, known together as the reward center or the pleasure pathway. When activated, dopamine release is increased along with opiates and other neurochemicals. Over time, the associated receptors may be affected, producing tolerance or the need for increasing stimulation of the reward center to produce a high and the subsequent characteristic behavior patterns needed to avoid withdrawal. Next challenge can be a reinforcement or reward. What is so rewarding about internet and video game use that it could become an addiction? The theory is that digital technology users experience multiple layers of reward when they use various computer applications. Maybe the video games, example, various social rewards they may get, identification with a hero, or the immersive graphics. When they use the dating sites, it can be a romantic fantasy, the online pokers for financial rewards, and special interest chat rooms or message boards, which is a reward for sense of belonging. Diagnostic criteria for internet addiction disorder. Though it is gaining traction in the mental health field and recently added to the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, as a disorder that needs more research, a standardized diagnosis of internet addiction disorder has not been discovered. One of the more accepted diagnostic assessments of internet addiction disorder has been proposed by K.W. Beards in 2005 article in Cyber-Psychology and Behavior. He has proposed 5 diagnostic criteria in the identification of internet addiction disorder in the general population. So among the 5 diagnostic criteria are, first one is preoccupied with the internet. That is, he constantly thinks, the individuals constantly think about past use or future use. He needs to use the internet with increased amount of time to gain satisfaction. This is the second criteria. They have made they have made unsuccessful efforts to control, but cut back or stop the use of internet. They are restless, moody, depressed, or irritable when attempting to control the internet use. They have stayed online longer than originally intended. These are the 5 diagnostic criteria listed by Beard. In addition, Beard suggests that at least one of the following must also be present in a diagnosis of this disorder. As jeopardized or risk the loss of a significant relationship, job, maybe educational or career opportunity because of the internet. Has lied to family members, therapists, or others to conceal their involvement with the internet. They use the internet as a way of escaping from problems or to relieve a dysphoric mood. Example, guilt, anxiety, depression, or helplessness. The most common assessment tools used to help make a diagnosis of this disorder, there are a few which I have listed, like Young's Internet Addiction Test, the Problematic Internet Use Questionnaire, the Compulsive Internet Use Scale. These are the few. For maintenance of this disorder, there are different models available for the development and maintenance, like cognitive behavioral model of problematic internet use, anonymity, convenience, and escape model, the access affordability and anonymity engine, the phases model of pathological internet used by Grohol, and the comprehensive model of the development and maintenance of internet addiction by Winkler and Dorsing, which takes into account, they take into account the socio-cultural factors, example, the demographic factors, the access to and acceptance of the internet, the biological vulnerabilities like the genetic factors, abnormalities in neurochemical processes, the psychological predispositions, including the personality characteristics, negative effects, and the specific attributes of the internet to explain their excessive engagement in internet activities. Now, moving on to the management of this internet addiction, there is a general consensus that total abstinence from the internet should not be the goal of the interventions, and that instead an abstinence from problematic applications and a controlled and balanced internet use should be achieved, because there are both pros and cons in the use of internet. So Young's strategies he has listed out, which are already known from the cognitive behavioral approach, includes the practice opposite time of internet use. That is, discover the patient's patterns of internet use and disrupt their routine, suggesting a new schedule for them. Use the external stoppers, that is, real events or activities prompting to log off the internet. Set goals with regard to the amount of time. Abstain from a particular application that the client is unable to control. Try to abstain from that. Use the reminder cards, cues that remind the patient of the costs of this internet addiction disorder and the benefits of breaking it. Engage them in family therapy, which addresses the relational problems in the family. Enter a support group that compensates for a lack of social support. And finally, develop a personal inventory, which shows all the activities that the patient used to engage in or can't find the time due to IAD or internet addiction disorder. So these are the Young strategies. So there are approaches to control IAD. There are non-psychological approaches and the psychological approaches too. Under the non-psychological approaches, some authors examine pharmacological interventions of IAD, perhaps due to the fact that the clinicians use psychopharmacology to treat IAD despite the lack of treatment studies addressing the efficacy of pharmacological treatments. In particular, selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors have been used because of the comorbid psychiatric symptoms of IAD, for which SSRIs have been found to be effective as per the studies. Drugs like escitalopram and bupropion were reported by some studies to cause decrease in craving for internet, video games play, and total gameplay time also. Other drugs like methylphenidate, citalopram, quetiapine combination, and naltrexone are some of the other drugs. Even physical exercise could compensate the decrease of the dopamine level due to decreased online usage. Moving on to the psychological approaches, motivational interviewing is a client-centered yet directive method for enhancing intrinsic motivation to change by exploring and resolving client ambivalence. It was developed to individuals for helping them to give up the addictive behaviors and learn the new behavioral skills using techniques such as open-ended questions, reflective listening, affirmation, and summarization to help individuals express their concern about the change. Unfortunately, there are currently no studies addressing the efficacy of MI in treating IAD, but MI seems to be moderately effective in the areas of alcohol, drug addiction, and the diet or exercise problems. The interventions with family members or other relatives like community reinforcement and family training, this could be useful in enhancing the motivation of an addict to cut back on internet use. The cognitive behavioral therapy is justified due to the good results in the treatment of other behavioral addictions or impulse control disorders such as pathological gambling, compulsive shopping, bulimia nervosa, and binge eating disorders. Behavioral group treatment, including identification of sustaining conditions, establishing of intrinsic motivation to reduce the amount of time being online, learning alternative behaviors, engagement in new social real-life contacts, psychoeducation, and exposure therapy. But unfortunately, clinical evidence for the efficacy of these strategies is not mentioned. There are other approaches which includes multimodal treatments. A multimodal treatment approach is characterized by the implementation of several different types of treatment, in some cases even from different disciplines such as pharmacology, psychotherapy, and family counseling simultaneously or sequentially. The treatments for IAD need to be multidisciplinary, including CBT, psychotropic medication, and family therapy, and case managers because of the complexity of these patients' problems. There is one more program called the Restart program, The Restart program is an inpatient internet addiction recovery program which integrates technology detoxification. That is, there should be no technology for 45 to 90 days and drug and alcohol treatment. The Restart program has 12 steps. One is cognitive behavioral therapy, the experiential adventure-based therapy, the acceptance and commitment therapy, the ACT therapy. One of the co-presenter is presenting on this. In the subsequent presentation, we can hear about this ACT therapy. Brain enhancing interventions, animal assisted therapy, motivational interviewing, mindfulness based relapse prevention, mindfulness based stress reduction, the interpersonal group psychotherapy, individual psychotherapy, individualized treatments for co-occurring disorders, psychoeducational groups, after treatments, after care treatments, continuing care treatments, an individualized or holistic approach. These are the 12 steps under the Restart program. Now, the continued or questionable existence. See, though originally this IID was diagnosed as a hoax disorder, the increased digital age has propelled us into the internet age, and internet addiction has become a truly real thing. However, many researchers are uncertain of whether internet addiction disorder is a disorder in its own existence or rather a symptom of other underlying conditions. Creating an even more problematic interaction is the fact that everything is available online nowadays. From ordering food, interacting with friends, playing games, and even watching TV, all these are done through internet. Adding an additional layer of confusion and distinction is that other digital technology is taking over the world as well, making access to computers even easier. Now we don't have to be physically sitting in front of the computer. We can do anything from anywhere with just our phone, tablets, or other electronic devices. Still, other researchers question whether excessive internet use is an addiction or an obsessive, compulsive, or impulse control disorder. Indeed, the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders is correct in its acknowledgement that much more research is needed to study this disorder. So thereby, to conclude my topic, it is essential to maintain a balance in use of digital technology and social media. Detoxing from digital devices assists us to focus on real-life social interactions without distractions. Certainly, it helps to have a good sleep, improves our concentration, reduces stress, we can recover happiness, and even boosts our mental health. Practically supports in improving the efficacy at the office, and also students will excel academically, securing well in examinations, thereby improving their academic performance. Thank you one and all for the patience hearing, and I thank the organizers for giving me an opportunity to present this.